Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the shop. So my band had a gig last night, which is kind of odd in this day and time for any band to have a live gig with everything being shut down and locked down and coronavirus and everything else. So, plus the governor of the great state of Louisiana has decided that dancing is a sin. And is, I guess, the main cause of COVID-19 transmission. So he's pretty much put the kibosh on any dance activities in the state. So, but like I say, we were lucky enough, my band was lucky enough to get a gig at a local establishment on the patio last night. So we are very thankful and appreciative of that. And we appreciate everybody that came out. It was pretty much a packed house, since there's not really a whole lot of live music going on right now. But anyway, so when I strung my bingo telly that I put together in my shop, when I strung this up Friday night to check everything and get it ready for the gig, I broke the little E string. Tuning it up, putting the stretch on everything, I broke the E string. So I said, no big deal, bad string, whatever. This is like the fourth or fifth set of strings that this thing's had on it, so that was the first one that broke. No big deal, bad string, whatever. So I put a new string on it, tuned it up, everything good, took it to the gig. About the third or fourth song I played on it, I hit a monster bend on that E string. I bent it up probably 2.5 steps, and it snapped right in the same spot. So the good news is when you break a string in the same spot twice, it's you don't even need to troubleshoot it. You know exactly where the problem is. So I have the compensated saddles on here. Let me see if I can zoom in here. So, hang on. New camera, y'all bear with me. So I have the compensated. Let me get my trusty dusty pointer here. So I have, again, the compensated saddles, and the string broke right there Friday night, and then it broke right there last night at the gig. So that tells me that saddle, the point right there on the saddle, is probably a sharp, like not flat or sharp, but actually like knife, razor blade sharp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to fix that in a relatively short period of time. It doesn't require any modification. It doesn't require any tools at all. So y'all stand by, whatever you want to do, and I'll be back here in a couple of minutes and I'll show you how to fix that. Okay, so all you need to fix this is some sandpaper, 1000 grit. I wouldn't go any more coarse than that. But all you want to do is you want to take this and you just want to cut a little strip about that wide. You want to lay that across that saddle there, and you just want to rub it back and forth. Let me zoom in here. So again, you want to cut your strip about that wide, and you just want to take it and lay it on that saddle and just kind of put a little bit of pressure on it and just rub it back and forth like this. Check it. There you go. Another way to do it would be to hold your finger down, put some pressure with this finger, and then just pull the paper through. But you can see that's what happens when you do it this way. Alright, so that is successfully been filed down. So I'm going to go ahead and change the strings on it, tune it up, and we'll be back here in a few minutes, and we'll take a look and see if it worked. Okay, so I've got everything strung back up. I was able to stretch this while I was tuning and didn't have any breakage at all, and I actually stretched it a little bit harder than I probably would have normally, just to check and see. So that fixed it. So like I say, when you have a string that breaks in the same place 2 times in a row, or 2 times, maybe not necessarily in a row, but 2 times, if it breaks in the same exact spot, you don't even need to troubleshoot that. You can go to right where it broke the second time and probably figure out almost immediately what it was. This bridge that I used here, it was complete stock right out of the package. So I'm assuming that it had either a burr, or when they ground down the brass for the saddle, it was just a little bit, the angle was just a little bit too steep. So that's what was putting pressure on the string itself. But it's fixed now. So that was a real quick, easy fix. I've had strings that are broken multiple times, and every time they break in a different spot. Those are a little bit tougher to nail down what's causing it. But like I say, if it breaks in the same spot 2 times, the second time you immediately know what the problem is. So, well, I can't say 100% of the time, because there's no telling what playing with my camera here. So anyway, so that's it. That's the bingo telly, and I must say, I must brag on it. It did an outstanding job at its first gig last night. This was kind of my quarantine build while I've been kind of sequestered in my shop. I do a lot of refinish work and custom modification to guitars, and I haven't been able to do a whole lot of paint work, and I'm doing air quotes here, paint work, due to the humidity this time of year. So I've got several guitars stacked up on the bench behind me over here that are going out to a customer in Washington State, and I've just been kind of stagnant on getting the flake laid down on them because of the humidity. So anyway, another thing you can do, I did not do it on this particular guitar, but I have before. Once you get your string, let me zoom in here. Once you get your string position where you want it at on this saddle here, to where it goes, ultimately you want it right over the center of the pickup pole piece or magnet. You want it to break right across the center. Once you get, so if you get a Gibson bridge like I have right here, some of them don't have the notches cut in the individual saddles. So same thing with the 3 brass saddles on a Telecaster type bridge. Even the non-compensated, like just the standard issue round 3-barrel brass saddle, there's no notches in those. It's a little bit harder to do on the standard round brass, but on these that are compensated, you've got a nice point that runs north and south on the actual saddle itself. So it is almost identical to the bridges, or the bridge saddles, or the saddles on the ABR1, Nashville, Tunematic, whatever, Gibson style bridge. So once you get your excuse me, once you get your string centered on your pickup pole piece or magnet, you can actually notch these with like a diamond grit file like you would do for your nut. You can actually take a nut file and just lightly notch the saddle, and that also gives you a little more control, because once you notch it, you can actually get down in there and clean it up really good. Uh, if you do the notch, I would recommend starting with maybe like a 600 grit sandpaper. Like, I just went right to 1000 on here because I didn't notch it and it was already kind of smooth, but it just needed just a little bit knocked off, so I jumped right to 1000. But if you wanted to notch these, there's no rule or law. Nobody's going to call the FBI and they're going to kick your door down because you notched a compensated saddle. Just be aware that if it is intonated and you notch it, you may have to intonate again and also redo your radius, because by notching the saddles, the string is going to sit just a little lower in that. And some guitars tolerate it better than others, but just as a general rule, if like this guitar right here is just standard bridge right out of the pack. I mean, it's radiused and everything, and the intonation is set. But if I had notched it, it's going to drop that string not a whole lot, but when you're dealing with guitar heights and measurements and stuff, like any type of height measurement or width or distance measurement, I mean, a thousandth of an inch will create havoc if you don't compensate for it. So, if you do notch one of these, you may want to check your radius and also your string height, and you may have to re-intonate after that. So, but this one was a relatively easy fix. Like I say, it didn't. I mean, it felt a little sharp. They're supposed to be a little sharp because that's what gives the break angle for the string to go across. But this one here, like I say, on that little E, it was just a little bit too much and was causing my string to break. So anyway, appreciate everybody hanging out with me. If y'all have any questions, tips, bitches, groans, moans, complaints, let me know. If you like the video, please like the video, and don't forget to subscribe. Every little bit helps, and I will catch you fellas later.